Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dychronic, host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Xur, his location, his random rolls, my recommendations, and all that whatnot for October 9th, 2020. You can find the Xur in his regular location on the EDZ, so just head over to the Winding Cove, make your way up on top of this mountain, and on the precipice of this hill, you will find the Xur in his regular location next to the Falling Catch. I am an agent of the Nine. This is a high overview of everything that he has, in case this is all you cared about. I gotta say, there's quite a few items here today that are pretty good. First and foremost, for the weapon today, we have the Wardcliff Coil, a weapon that is still incredibly strong in the Crucible, and if you have not used it, it is a shotgun rocket that kills enemies super easily. It kills everybody anywhere from right in front of you to mid-range. This thing is so powerful, so much fun, and it does not matter how much heavy ammo you're picking up, you're always getting one rocket to just dump on the enemies. In PvE, it's not as good. Honestly, it's pretty trash considering we've gotten a lot of really good PvE heavies or special weapons that do a lot of crazy damage since this thing came out. And lastly, this thing actually does have a catalyst that does improve the tracking of the volley rockets, but it only increases it by a very slight amount. And one fun thing that I think is really funny is that this exotic has extended mag, which increases the magazine size but worsens the reload speed. And you can see the magazine is still 1, which means it just worsens the reload speed. Bungie, you could have just worsened the reload speed. You could pick what reload it has. Moving on to the Hunter exotic today, we have the Wormhouse Crown, a top 5 Hunter exotic for sure. If you've never heard of it, dodging gives you a small bump in health and shields. You get around a half of your shields and health whenever you use your dodge, allowing you to re-engage with more health, surprising your enemy by the amount of health you have, as well as escape with more health, allowing you to escape more battles or more shots while actually getting shot at. Honestly, there's really not much more to say about this exotic. You have your dodge like every 9 seconds with high mobility, allowing you to get your health more quickly, faster every single time, and you can also use this thing in PvE. Almost always, it is better to stay alive than to die in PvE. I say almost always, and this exotic helps you do that. A lot of people are always like, hey, I gotta use my Celestial Nighthawk, I gotta use my Orpheus rigs. But the fact is, if you're dying a lot, you're not being helpful to your team, and this exotic helps you stay alive. It's not the best for PvE, but can be used for it. As far as the role goes, you'd like to see a lot of mobility and a lot of recovery. It does have a decent recovery and a middling amount of mobility. It does have a lot of discipline that I'd actually like to see in strength for those smoke bombs. So maybe kind of an averaging role for a pretty good exotic that apparently has an ornament. And I don't have the ornament. Ooh, look at that tech strength. For the Titan exotic today, we have the One-Eyed Mask. Yet again, another exotic that's in my top 5 exotics for the Titans. If you've never heard of it, Vengeance highlights the enemy that dares to damage you, which means you can just see them in red when they're visible to you, and you track down the target and destroy them for an overshield. It used to be this exotic used to do the same thing, except for you could see the enemies through the walls, and you would also get a damage bonus from that kill, which in Forsaken was the strongest that ever was, and after 7 nerfs later, they finally removed this seeing enemies through a wall, and they made the One-Eyed Mask the way it is now. But even then, an overshield is still strong and definitely like top 10, top 5 worthy and very useful in PvP in every single build. And again, just like Wormhouse Crown can be used to keep you alive and help with survivability in PvE. So if you don't know what to use or you're doing a raid with a bubble, you can use this exotic because you don't need Helm 14 for raid DPS, it just gives you an overshield. This exotic will help keep you alive. As far as the role goes, you'd like to see a lot more in recovery and mobility because it is more PvP based. Decent mobility, recovery is a bit on the low side, and you do have some discipline, which, you know, obviously Titans have some pretty good grenades, so I would say a pretty decent roll, good stat total as well for an exotic that also has an ornament. God, I gotta get these ornaments, man, because the colors on this exotic kind of suck. And finally, for the Warlock exotic today, we have the Felwinter's Helm. This is an exotic that acts very similar to some of the other exotics in the game, like the Cowl or the Severance Enclosure, where a charged melee kill or a finisher releases a burst of energy and weakens nearby enemies. This works in both PvP and PvE, where you weaken the enemy, meaning they take more damage, like if you were to tether them, and they also get a smoke bomb effect on their screen, where in PvE, the guys just get disoriented and start walking away not knowing what they're doing. Initially, I thought this exotic might have some crazy uses for PvE, but the fact is getting into melee range and the fact that it comes from your body, that wave of pulse whenever you get that kill, is not as strong as it could be. If the pulse came out from where you got the kill, the Celestial Fire builds these days would be absolutely bonkers. As far as the role goes, obviously you'd like to see a lot of strength and a lot of recovery. Honestly, neither one of these stats are really that high. I'd like to see a lot more of it and definitely not see a lot of resilience. So this particular role is pretty bad for maybe an average to below average exotic. Outside of that, make sure you pick picking up your 5 of Swords for high-scoring Nightfalls on the regular Nightfalls, which I will remind you, the regular Nightfall playlist will actually be removed at the start of Beyond Light, so this thing probably will just not be useful. Make sure you're picking up your Invitation of the Nine, which I have finished on this character for powerful gear and lore, and finally an exotic engram. Every exotic engram that drops in this game will be guaranteed with a high stat roll and guarantee you an exotic that you have not gotten before. In my particular case, I'm just looking for high stat rolls, and in this case, I got one that I just really don't care about. And Swift can go suck my nut. But yeah, so that's gonna be the end of it. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, concerns, anything I missed, any concerns, you just want to say hi. Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, make sure you come check out those live streams that I have right after these Xur videos, as well as all the other times you can see on screen right now. We play some Destiny 2. We're gonna be playing with some pretty cool people today, so come check that out. We're gonna do some open lobbies, probably some fun stuff. So yeah, that's the end of it. If you guys did enjoy, I actually have a Wardcliff on me, and I will see you guys on the next one. Oh. I'm like, I heard the chest. Where's the chest? There it is. What you doing up there, buddy?